Hi, my name is Judy and I'm the City Stitcher, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. Today is Sunday, July the 4th, and so I want to wish all my American viewers a very happy Independence Day. I hope you're having a lovely time celebrating, although safely. Careful with those fireworks and all those kinds of things, and I know the weather in certain parts of the US there's some not great things going on. Even up here in Canada, there are some not great weather things going on. So to all of my fellow Canadians, I hope we all had a wonderful day on July the 1st as we celebrated Canada Day. I will talk about what I did to celebrate Canada Day in a little bit. So I hope everybody's doing well. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back and spending some time with me. If you are a new viewer to my channel, thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me as well, and I hope that you enjoy what you see. And as always, feel free to like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. If you've got questions, comments, topics you'd like me to address, always happy to get those. And so I just want to say thank you for all the comments on last week's video. I'm not surprised, because anytime you get to sit down and have a chat with Jeannette, it's always fantastic and lovely, and you learn something and you get to see wonderful things and all those kinds of things. So I always love catching up with Jeannette, as did many of you. So I think that's great. All I can say is, if you ever have the chance to go meet her in person, or take a class from her, or travel with her, or do anything, I can't say enough how much I would encourage you to do that, because she's just fantastic. She's a fantastic person. She knows a lot. She has these lovely designs. You learn things. So yes, again, if you ever have the chance, yeah, go see if you can't spend some time with Jeannette. And again, on her events page on her website, and I'll put a link to that in the notes below again, has a listing of the things that she's got on the calendar. I think some of them are up to 2023. So anyway, with that, so I'm a little behind on responding to comments. So I'm just going to go through some of the comments on last week's, as well as the one from that, because that's the one that I haven't really done anything with. But thank you for the comments on the lovely sampler. It's really not, it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's all Jeannette. That thing is lovely, 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 lovely. And just to reiterate, if you're talking to your LNS about things that are coming out for the August Needlework Expo, the sampler that she's coming out with is called Joy Be Thine. Yes, that's on my list to get. I know. We're gonna talk about that in context of a couple of things in a little bit, but that's coming up. So again, Joy Be Thine. Yeah, that's gonna be coming home as well. Debbie, thank you so much for your comment about wanting to buy me a Slurpee. Thank you. It's been a lovely, so I will stop here. So here's the comment on the weather. Yes, we have had record-breaking heat wave over the past week. So like multiple days of record-breaking temperatures where I am, which is in the high 90s. I don't think we ever topped 100 where I am. And I know for some of you that's not record-breaking for you. It is record-breaking for where I live. Lots of people were not very happy with the weather. I was mostly okay with it. I know not everybody loved it. And again, I will say in the high 90s, in full sunshine, even for me, that was not the time to be out on the deck. You know, as the sun's starting to go down, which is later up here because we're, you know, north of the 49th parallel up here. But spending quality time out on the deck at night where I didn't have to have a blanket or a sweater was lovely. I had lots of Slurpees. So I had a good time. I enjoyed it. Full confession, I did have to sleep in the basement a couple of nights because it was just that warm. It was too hot to sleep upstairs. But yeah, so lots of people not very happy. I was okay with it. I was having a good time. It was record-breaking temperature over a lot of Western Canada, so wildfires and fires, and my hearts go out to those poor people in Lytton who huge wildfires sprang up and like the entire town is destroyed. They did not have much time to get out, so anyway. Yeah, so wildfires and bad weather and lots of things happening, and sympathies. There's been a lot of death numbers rolling around the news this week, so that hasn't been great. But okay, moving on to better and brighter things. Don't forget people safety first, safety first, safety first. Anyway, but yes, Debbie, thank you for wanting to buy me a Slurpee. Thank you for remembering it's a Slurpee and not a coffee. I enjoyed that too. Denise, thank you for your comment. So first and foremost, I hope your husband is recovering well. Two, I'm glad to know that the chart arrived to you safe and sound, because you have waited ridiculously a long time for me to relocate that chart and get it off to you. And please, let us know when you start to work on it. No pressure, because we all know what my stitching timeline is. So, but if you ever start that, I'd love to see how it comes out, because that one does look lovely. Stitchy Hollow, I really enjoyed your comment about being tortured by Jeannette's designs, although they're lovely. And it's true, they are. And I'm going to talk about a couple of things about that in a bit on that topic about the torturing as well. Charlotte had a good chuckle at your comments. Thank you for giving me a hard time about downloading the instructions to get to construct the Marbec nativity special frame. I thought that was hilarious, because no, I am not planning on stitching it again. I can't see that happening. But that I also really laughed, because even though you've stitched yourself, which don't take it the wrong way, I'm pretty sure you're not planning on stitching it again. You downloaded them as well. So yes, we are two peas in a pod on that one. Even though we're not planning on stitching it again, we needed the instructions on how to get to the specialty frame. Anyway, enjoyed that one. Hannah Mansfield, I did leave a response to your comment about a Mystic Sampler by Jeannette. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I do talk to Jeannette periodically. So I know of one that's called Mystic Sampler, but it is by the Victoria Sampler, not Jeannette. So have a look at that one and see if that's the one that you're looking for. If you still think it's called Mystic Sampler and it's by Jeannette, just let me know, because the next time I chat with her, I'll ask her, and then I'm sure she'll tell me if that's accurate or not, or what's going on with that. So yeah, just leave me a comment and I can follow up on that. Side note on the Victoria Sampler, for those of you who may not know, Taya Duick, who's one of the designers behind the Victoria Sampler, is retiring, so they've announced that. As far as I know, I don't think they're planning on retiring their designs just yet. And I certainly know that you can buy them directly from the Victoria Sampler. And you can buy, it used to be that you could only buy them as paper charts. You know, welcome to the old days. But they have put a lot of them into PDFs that you can buy the PDF from their store and download that. I do know that they, as far as I can tell from the emails that I got from them announcing that retirement, I think that they are planning on stopping producing the thread packs for the Victoria Sampler charts. So those are the ones that if you've got some in your stash and you don't have the thread packs for them yet, and you think you need the thread pack as opposed to necessarily buying the quite a few colors that are usually involved in a Victoria Sampler chart, my recommendation would be maybe get on that sooner as opposed to later. So I know that on their website they've already noted that they've sold out of thread packs for several of them. It says straight up sold out on the website. So then your next thing is to start really my recommendation is start Googling it and seeing which online, either phone LNSs that you know of that might have it, or you know, Google it, contact those shops and see what they've got it, because some of the shops may have them in stock. The older the chart, the less likely that they will have the thread pack in stock. So on those ones you may be out of luck, but like I say, so they have announced this. Again, I don't think the chart, as far as I know, the charts are not being retired, but they're going to get harder to come by. And as far as I know, they are planning on stopping the production of the thread packs for all of her charts. So just a cautionary note for those of you that may have Victoria sampler charts in your possession, that you, because hey, I've done it myself, where it's like I buy the chart and I go, maybe don't buy the thread pack right now, because some of those thread packs are expensive. This is where I'm like, maybe check your stash and see if you need any. Okay, want complete, anyway, whatever. So just a cautionary note on that one. The lovely Joanne Jones commented that she was going to start her Canadian Patriotic Sampler on July the 1st, which I think sounded like a very patriotic thing to do as far as I was concerned. She is known to me. She's a local stitcher here. She stitches, okay, as far as I'm concerned, way faster than me, and is a much more prolific stitcher than I am. So I really hope that she didn't finish it within a week. So as far as I can tell, she hasn't finished it yet. She hasn't posted anything. So even if you have finished it, Joanne, can you just hold off on posting it for a bit and pretending you finish it later in case you've already finished it? Or maybe get distracted by something new. Let me encourage you to do that. Anyway. Lena, okay, so now we're moving back into comments from 2 videos ago. So one, I laughed on the number of you that commented that you were voting for the lilac. I don't think anybody technically actually voted for the soft ivory, so I'm not sure if that's because I expressed a preference for myself and my vote. Anyway, never mind that. So thank you for the encouragement on the lilac. I do think I'm going to end up doing it on the lilac. Carol Newey, hey, I was thrilled to hear that your dad is a stitcher. I think that's fantastic. Yes, I don't know a lot of male stitchers. Certainly the men in my family would not be choosing that for themselves. That's okay. Everybody has the things that works for them. So yeah, I'm always happy to see male stitchers and hoping that they are getting a huge amount of enjoyment out of that. And I'm really glad to hear that he's won some blue ribbons at the state fair. That sounds great. Lena, I got your comment about hand-dyed variegateds and the sorting of those. So if you've got an example, so the Jeannette Douglas ones that I was sorting were variegated. I know on camera they didn't look terribly variegated. In real life they are somewhat variegated. And I was sort of looking through the kits that I've got, and I didn't have a good example of one that had hand-dyed variegated as part of a kit. But if you've got an example, throw that down in the comments, because happy to work my way through one of those badly on camera. And you'll see why that is in a bit as well. So those are the comments over the last couple of weeks. Again, I'm thrilled that you enjoyed the visit with Jeannette, because the visit with Jeannette is always fantastic. And with that, let's get to my stitching. And so I figured I should start off with where we left off last week. The Canadian Patriotic Sampler. The lovely Jeannette Douglas. This is a lovely sampler. So I was only going to work on this through till the end of June. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday was Canada Day. But after Joanne posted her comment about saying she was going to start hers on Canada Day, and I was like, oh, doesn't that sound like a really patriotic thing to do? I really felt that I should work on mine. Not a lot on Canada Day, because we were in a new month and I was supposed to be starting a new project and all that kind of stuff. But I should spend some time working on my Canadian Patriotic Sampler. So I'm just going to show you where I got to, and then I'm going to explain why it's maybe not as far as you think I might have gone. So here's where I'm at now. So yeah, it doesn't look like a lot of difference. So I did get my over one British flag stitched in. And you know I'm slow at the over one, so that took me longer than it should have because I don't stitch that one very fast. Now, for those of you who are working on this particular chart or have stitched it previously and you're looking at this going, this does not look right. Technically, this is another one where I'm not exactly following Jeanette's chart exactly as she did it. This is her design. I'm just changing it a little bit. And so I started up here because I needed these bits here because, as I've said, I'm planning on changing a couple of things in Jeanette's chart. She knows about it. We talked about it while I was over there visiting it with her. And I needed these because I need where this is so that I know that my spacing for these elements that are going over here and over here work out correctly. Yes, there are more words to come in here because I need the for thee to come in. But I needed to get this in so that I know when I'm doing my elements over here that I'm getting them where I think they should be for what I'm planning on doing. Next time I start working on this, it may start to make sense. It may not make sense. We'll see. And again, my thing is I may do this and sort of go like, yeah, Judy, you were crazy in saying that this isn't going to work out and you need to really follow Jeanette's pattern because she's way smarter than you and she's an actual proper designer. And that may happen as well. And so one of the things that I've done is I've only chosen to do the white for this. So this is the part that has all of these many maple leaves inside. And so my answer is I absolutely will not do anything else in here until I get the rest of it in. This will be the thing that I do last because at that point I will know whether the changes that I'm making are working out and if they look okay and all that kind of stuff. Because if this part isn't working out, then it's much easier to take this out and follow Jeanette's pattern. So there's no way I'm doing the leaves inside of here until I get the rest of it done. So this is last. I will do everything else before I fill this in. That's not true. I think once I got to the bottom, by the time you get to the second band of the plaid, at that point, I think I will know. So I might do it before I hit the plaid again, but you just never know. Check back later when it comes out again to see what I end up doing. But this is where I just wanted to chat a little bit about things that you see in Jeanette's designs. And like I say, I laughed at Stitchy Hollow's comment about being tortured as she was stitching a Jeannette Douglas. Particularly after Jeanette's thing going like, specialty stitches, they're not hard, you just follow the diagram. And they're not. They can be a little annoying, which I acknowledged as well. Those queen stitches, which even in my head now I still call Queen Anne stitches. I don't know how I've come up with the extra name, but whatever. Jeanette's patterns do build complexity into her designs. And I was thinking about that because as I was reading, believe it or not, reading through my chart. So these leaves here have very complicated instructions. So it may look like it's just like one variegated thread that you're using for this, and the answer is it's not. It's 3 to 4 different colors are being used in each one of those leaves. Now, for some of you, that's enough to send you over the edge, and I understand that. Remember back when I was talking about the Take Time to Quilt Autumn and the Queen Stitches just about drove me insane? Yes, they did just about drive me insane, but I persevered and I got them done, and it really didn't take me that long at all. But if you're looking at this and you're just going, I just can't face having to do 4 colors to get one of those leaves, one of these maple leaves done, here's something to consider. just to consider. I haven't stitched it this way myself, so it's one of these things where it's like, if you look at this and you go like, I just couldn't handle doing that. That's too much complexity for me, but I really love that design. Then my recommendation is to stitch each one of these leaves in one of the different red variegated threads that you've got in your thread pack. Now, full caveat, haven't stitched it like this, don't know how it would work out with the thread pack. Careful, careful, careful. Worst case, you could do it in different DMCs. But she's got a very specific approach to these, and each one of these are numbered 1 through 4. And so the versions are replicated in each of these sets of 4. But if you just can't handle going, there's 3 to 4 colors in each one of those leaves, one of the things to consider is you could do each one of them as one of the different reds that's called for in the chart. So you've got crimson, hollyberry, poinsettia, and simply strawberry are the 4 reds. And so if you just followed her numbering, again, I don't know how this would look at the end, but if that's enough to send you over the edge, let's pull you back from the edge and go, it's an option. Again, haven't stitched it that way, don't know how it works with the thread pack. Anyway, but yes, I was looking, the instructions went, wow, those are complicated. You're going to have to be very careful as you're coming through those, which also made it much easier to say, I'm so totally doing these last. And again, it will look lovely at the end. Jeannette's designs always look lovely at the end. Always, always, always. And there's a reason why she designs them that way with those colors, because it gets you this incredible amount of shading and things like that, which makes the design really interesting to look at. It's very visually appealing. But I did look at it and went, okay, that's gonna have to be a concentrated stitching thing. Now, and again, the other thing is, now that I have all the white parts in, whenever I come to do that, you know, if you figure out leaf number 1, you could do all of the number 1 leaves while you were, you know, you could stitch them all at the same time. Now that I have all that white in, because you've got something to help you locate where to get those leaves. So something for you to consider. I'm not necessarily recommending it. I'm saying it's an option. Anyway, things to think about, because you know I always have things to think about. All right. So that's my Canadian Patriotic. I'm holding it up again because I think it looks lovely. I love this. Now, I love that I've done it on the gray. I'm doing this on a 32 count pearl gray Lugana, which is not the called for platinum. Again, I have changed the color here that I've done the words from Gloriana Arroyo. I have changed that, and I am using a Karen Water Lilies graphite. But I love how this looks. I love how this looks. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And Joanne, thank you for saying you were going to start yours on Canada Day, because I went, yeah, that does sound like something really patriotic to do. And so I actually made sure that on Canada Day, what I did was I was finishing up sort of the bottom part of the white. I went, yeah. So as usual, I never make as much progress on this as I want to. It would have been really lovely if I could have completed it in the month. The other thing that slowed me down is, again, because I'm changing a couple of the elements in here, I actually spent some time designing myself, which makes you really appreciate the designers and what they do, because you just go, it's harder than you may think it is, and it takes more time than you think it is. So I did design number 1. I actually did a test stitch, so I test stitched it and went, I think this will work. And that's where I went, ooh, you really need to know exactly where those white patterns were to make that work out. So that was part of it. So I've designed one, I test stitched one, I rethought it, I did design number 2 and have that all charted out, and that I did a design number 3. So I've got 3 options, and really, so when I'm not going to do any of it right now because this is going away, we're in a new month. But I've got 3 options ready to go, and we'll see how this progresses. And worst case scenario, I will know very simply once I get the two things on either side here in, whether it's going to work out or not. And if these don't work out, the answer is this is going to come out and it's going to get restitched properly, and I'm going to follow Jeanette's pattern exactly as she's got it. Okay, I mostly follow the patterns. Anyway. All right. So not surprisingly, I also did spend some time this week on the Marbec nativity. The Bethlehem Star, yet sadly still here, still chugging along slowly, slowly, slowly. So what did I get accomplished this week? So I finished all of the blue. So the dark blue was color number 1. This lighter blue is color number 2 as far as I'm concerned, and I got all of that completed. It wasn't complete last week. And I started working on, you can barely see the color change here for color number 3. And the interesting thing is when you're stitching that color, when you're actually stitching it, you can barely, it really doesn't look that much different than the ones around. It's only when you step back that you can see, and I don't know whether you're going to be able to see it on camera or not, but there's a little bit of a change in there. So I've been working on that color. It's over here on this side and it's up in there. There's quite a bit left to do here. So my goal for this week is a big goal for this one. I want to get all of the cross stitching with DMC in this Blue Angel complete. I want all of this complete this week. Not the back stitching, although if I do a bang up job and somehow get it finished really early, I've got no problems going ahead and doing that. But my goal is that hopefully by next week, all of the DMC in here will be complete. Because then I'll go, we're really starting to make progress. So yes, so some stitching done on here. But then of course we were in a new month, which means every month on the first of the month, I start a new piece. And so that's why, if you're new to my channel, that was my decision for this year. That's my plan for this year, is I will start something new every month. The Marbec Nativity is continuing until it's done, because that's a present for someone and it needs to be finished. And I need to speed up on that thing. Anyway, we'll talk about that in plans. But so every month, so that's why the Canadian Patriotic Sampler is going away. That was my June piece. I started it in June, worked on it in June. It's going away to come out, as far as I know, according to the plan, it's not coming out again until 2022. It doesn't reappear in my plans so far in 2021, but plans can be adjusted. But my July one, so here's a little bit into the topic. So the topic for this episode is Let's Talk Jolly July. And so I always laugh because I've got friends who, as we're coming up to a new month, try to guess what my new piece I'm going to be working on. And so I enjoyed, I had a friend who was like literally trying to run down designer names that started with J, because there aren't as many with those. We'd already done Jeannette, Douglas, June, so she was pretty sure it wasn't that one. She thought maybe it was going to be Just Nan July, but we did Just Nan January. And so I did say that this one was not tied to, it wasn't going to be alliterative based on the designer name, but it is Jolly July, and so it's Christmas related. And so I have started, so this is a Mill Hill kit from this series called A Visit from St. Nick. It's called the Quartet because there's 4 pieces in there, and I am working on The Stockings Were Hung. So this is the first one of the quartet. That's what it looks like. And so where did I get to? I think that's not bad progress for 3 days of stitching. I was working on the Marbec Nativity So I didn't work on the Marbec nativity in the first part of the week. I did work on the Marbec nativity in the back half of the week. But I figured that was coming along. So this is clearly the fireplace. This is the brickwork. And I did the red for at least one of the stockings. Oops. So I thought that was coming along well. Now it is interesting because certainly down here, like so from the tree and all along here, this is pretty much full coverage. Now there's not full coverage up here above the mantelpiece, but the rest of this, it's pretty much full coverage. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But yes, this is my, I had lots of things that I contemplated doing, but the other consideration that came in is that I'm back on the bandwagon for Stitch from Stash. Now, fell off the bandwagon in great form, and I do have a pile of Stashquisitions to show you that I've been collecting over the last month, and in fact I got a shipping notice from one of the orders I'd placed from a US store, that it had finally, it wasn't complete, but they were sending what they had, and that had been shipped out. So there will still be things arriving from my previous shopping expeditions, and it's going to take me a long time to show them, but officially I am back on the bandwagon that I'm going to try to be successful at doing a Stitch from Stash, which runs, so it's a Facebook group. They take it in period, 6 months period. So there was January to June, fell off in April. And I'm trying again in the back half, see if I can't do better this time. And one of the things that I discovered from my first attempt is that when you aren't, if you're starting all of these things and you're not in a position to complete anything, you are limited to your budget, which is $25 for me, which is the maximum you're allowed in the version that I'm doing, which is appropriate for me because I do have quite a bit of stash. Anyway, but August Needlework Expo is coming up. And we already know that I need Joy Be Thine. Like, that has to come home. Anyway. So, whatever. We'll see how we do. So, one of my things is that I'm hoping is that by choosing a smaller piece, I can actually get this accomplished. That I will start this, and hopefully in the month of July, I will get this finished. Hopefully. Let's see how that goes. This also provides topics for, this design provides, as far as I can tell, according to my schedule, this is providing the topics for the entire rest of this month. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, but I was happy with my progress. And again, once I sit down to stitch tonight, I've got two goals. One, I'm choosing another color of the brickwork, so I'm hopefully going to get that accomplished tonight, as well as I'm hoping to get the second blue accomplished in my Marbec, which anyway, we'll see how that goes. There's a lot there, so we'll see how fast I do about getting this finished and uploaded. But so that is my July start for Jolly July. I think it's coming along well. We'll see how it does. And in case you were wondering, I did pull out the rest of them because again, this is a quartet. So this is the second one, which I can't read. There we go. The Children Were Nestled is number 2 in the series. This is number 3, A Jolly Old Elf. And this is 4, To All a Good Night. Now, the interesting thing about this kit, which you may be able to tell, is that most Mill Hill kits come with perforated paper. And this kit did not. This came with 16 count Aida. Let me just make sure I'm not lying about that. Yeah, 16 count Aida, which was also an interesting experience because it's been a really, really long time since I've stitched on Aida. So kind of felt weird at the beginning. Anyway, I actually got this set of 4 specifically because it was a Mill Hill kit that was not done on perforated paper. So the whole series. And I was looking at them saying there are some that are done on, the kit comes with linen, some of them come with Aida. You have to read your descriptions really, really carefully if you're looking for non-perforated paper Mill Hill kits. And not everybody's really good about saying what's in the kit in terms of what you'll be doing it on, whether it's perforated paper or fabric of some kind. So just careful. My default position is I normally assume that it's perforated paper unless it is clearly stated that it's done on something else. And again, this set, because I got this from my LNS, I looked at the kit and I went, it looks really great. It's a quartet, you know, looks really nice. That sounds like me. Mill Hill, do I really want to do them on perforated? Oh, wait a minute. This is not perforated paper in this kit. And so that made it a very easy decision that these were coming home. And again, I've owned these for years. Now, these aren't as old as some of my other ones. I want to say these are like 2011. I don't have the chart handy here. I'll check that out and get back to you next week. But anyway, so that's my new start. I think that's coming along swimmingly well. I'm very happy with my progress. As I say, not bad for 3 days. 3 days. I think I'm doing okay. All right. And with that, I'm going to do Stashquisitions, and then we're going to talk about plans because that's really going to be about the topic. So some of the Stashquisitions that I've been doing have tied into things that we've talked about before. So 2 weeks ago, I showed you the charts that I got from Nancy's Needles. Because, again, when I did February and I did my work on Frida's Fancy Stitching chart called The Banquet, which is lovely. Check that one out. I noted it had been a really, really long time since I'd done any canvas work. And I really enjoyed it. And I was like, you really need to make sure that you have canvas work. My goal is to be working on one canvas piece every year. Right now in the 5-year plan, the plan is that there will always be a canvas work piece that I work at some point over the course of the year. It's not that I'm planning on working on canvas every month, but the days of years go by without me actually working on a canvas piece. I want that to come to an end. That's a new goal, and I learned that in 2021. I need to have some canvas work in my life. And so part of the Stashquisitions is I got myself a couple of pieces of canvas so that I can make sure that that happens. And I showed you a couple of charts that I've gotten to make sure that that can happen too. So this is a piece of 18 count eggshell mono canvas. And this one is a really lovely, it's called Vintage French Blue, which is also 18 count canvas. And so these are for specific things that, you know, might be in my 5-year stitching plan. Anyway, so canvas to add to the stash. I did that lovely episode of tools that I use, not the ones about tools, the stitching tools for when you're stitching on the go. But tools that I used, and I made a couple of comments in there about I might need to top up a couple of things in the answers, so I topped up. And so I'd shown these really little scissors, what are they called again? Oh yeah, there we go, Super Snips. I'm like, I know they have a name. Super Snips, they're very economical, but very little, plasticky, you know, sub $5 Canadian to get these things. So if I go traveling, it was my whole, like, I wanted to get a couple more so that I could take them traveling, and if I lost them traveling, no big deal. Or if they ever got confiscated because someone at the airport wasn't happy about things. And I'm vaccinated now. Not quite ready to get on planes and things like that, but those days are coming. And like I say, I've got a friend who's got a really lovely house on a lake, and hopefully in a couple of months I can go down and see her and visit with her, and it'll be lovely and warm, and you know how excited I get about lovely and warm. Anyway, I want to take my stitching. So I got myself, okay, not one, because it's me, I got two. A pair and a spare and a spare. Anyway, they were economical, so I didn't feel so bad about getting two. The other one, again, this ties into my goal to have a piece of canvas work always on the go every year. So I have found these needle pullers very handy as I was working on those, and I had the pair that I was using while I was working on it, and as I noted in my stitching bag, I had one. I don't know what happened to the other one, but I only had one. And I went, you should probably have a spare pair of those. So I got myself a spare pair of those while I was off the Stitch from Stash bandwagon, because it didn't count towards anything. Anyway. Yeah, lots of Stashquisitions to sew. Okay, so I did get myself the Ultimate Sampler Motif book. I've heard people talking about this, lots of people talking about it, and I had the opportunity to actually see one. And the reason why nobody ever shows you the inside, briefly, is because there are no pictures of the things. So the only pictures of anything is what you see on this cover, because everything inside this book is straight up motif designs. So it is 74 pages. That's not true. Apparently some of them have colors attached to them. As far as I'm concerned, they're motifs. So 74 pages of sheer motif designs. And once I had the opportunity to have a quick look at what this looked inside in terms of what the motifs actually look like and how it was laid out and all that kind of stuff, I was like, yeah, you're going to need it. Because now, are there pages in here where I think that it is highly unlikely that I will ever use them? Yes. Do I really think that I'm ever going to use any of the people designs that are in this motif book? Probably not. But again, as far as I'm concerned, you know, there's, okay, 2-3 pages of people motifs that I probably won't ever use. I'm actually just, 4. Okay, so 4 pages. I'm still fine with that. Some of the motifs are designed as black work, where I go 50-50 as to whether or not that would work out for me. But even while I was working on one of the motif adjustments that I'm planning for Jeannette's Canadian patriotic piece, I actually used this book. So there were 3 motifs in here that I was looking at saying, okay, it at least gave me a starting point for what I was contemplating and how that could work out. And again, as I was trying to figure out spatial relationships and all that kind of stuff, this actually, so I've already used this. I've bought it. I've already used it. I've already put it into practice. And as we all know, and I've mentioned this on quite a few of them, it's like I like to change things. I'm not horribly good about exactly following a pattern, as we've noticed by now. Anyway, so I had the opportunity to have a quick look at this, and I just went, no, for someone like you who likes to change things and move things and replace things and pull things in, I went, I can see this being a very, very beneficial book for me. And like I say, I've already put it to use. Anyway, so that's come into the collection, and that's probably not even going to go up to the closet where I keep the stash. That's probably going to be staying down beside me in something that looks a lot like this in the drawers that sit beside me at my other stitching spot. And with that, we're going to get to the eye candy, because as we all know, I have explained that I have, along with a friend of mine, we have been totally sucked into the dyeing for cross stitch, hand-dyed silk and cottons that she offers, and I will put a link to her site below. And so my friend and I have been combining our orders because we like to save on shipping. And I've ordered a couple of times with her, and I knew that the orders had come in, but we just had not had a chance to connect and meet up in real life to do the handoff, and we have now accomplished that. So that happened this last week. And so I have a big pile of dyeing for cross stitch items to show you. And so I'm just going to do that now because I did all this Stashquisitioning before I got back on the bandwagon. Anyway, so here we go. There's quite a bit. I'm just gonna like, wait a minute, I'm looking around going, I've lost something. There it is. Because I need to get my whiteboard back because I'm going to want to show these against a white background so that hopefully the colors come through really well. Okay, so this is 2 skeins of, this colorway is called Denim. And I did get this in the silks. So this is what the denim silk looks like. And the thing that I'm planning on using this for is in my 5-year stitching plan. So now that I've shown you, well, 1, now that I've received it, 2, now that I've shown you, 3, it gets to go into its bag and live where it's supposed to be with the plan. So again, it's just a variegated blue. Blue is my favorite color. This is called Denim. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, and again, I don't think that the camera ever really does it as much justice as it should. But yeah, it's lovely. So that's one. Then, of course, we had the problem that starting in May, she is now doing color sets. And so what that means is it's a combination of 4 colors. They come out at the beginning of the month, and they are there is a discount for that month's color set. I think you can still get as far as I know, you can still get the color set. So like the May color set that I'm about to show you, I believe is still on her website, and you can order it. You just don't get the discounted price. So this is the May silk floss set, and I got 2. So yeah, they're still in their plastic. You know what? That's ridiculous. I should take at least one of them out of their plastic. There's no reason why these can't be out of their plastic. I did get 2, and I will explain why in a minute. Aren't those lovely? Yeah, we're back in the sunroom and I'm getting that glare coming off there. So again, this is the most variegated, and really the colors that are in this variegation are the other 2 colors in the set. Again, I think this is lovelier in person than the way that it's showing up on camera. Yeah, this is the one that was bad. My friend was like, I was trying to be really well behaved, and she's like, you need to look at this, you need to look at this, you need to go online and you need to look at this. I'm putting in an order, and then of course I took one look at it and went, I have to have this. And in fact, I have figured out the pattern that I am planning on using this with. And then, so then I looked at the stitch count of what it was. And again, because I had done the My Big Toe March, where I figured out how many stitches I could get out of something, I now have that math, so I could work it out. And that's why I ended up getting 2 sets, because for the design that I'm planning on using this for, 1 set was not going to be enough. And again, I wanted to order them at the same time, because that way I knew that they were coming out of the same dye lot batch. Like this is the batch you would have all done at the same time. And so that these 2 sets would be out of that same batch. Again, she is doing hand-dyed flosses, silk and cotton. And so there may be variegation, you know, between batches. And so, you know, she does say this on her website that if you're looking at a bigger project, that you will want to get, you know, all of the floss for that project at one time, because that's the way that she can ensure that they all essentially look reasonably similar. So, you know, I don't know that I know that the colors of these names, but, you know, 3 months from now, if she re-dyes a set like this, it may look very similar, but it may not be exact. And that's the nature of hand-dyed fibers, which is why I got 2. Now, fortunately, in the June set came out, and I went, oh, thank heavens, those are not my colors. Whew! That was very grateful for that. The July one came out, and it's nice, but it wasn't enough to make me, you know, go run off and try to figure out how to get that into my stash. Is it wrong? So the cost for a monthly color set from her for the silks is $24.99. And is it wrong that I've already went, thank heavens, because that means if I have to get it, it fits within my Stitch from Stash budget? Anyway, just means I need to stitch faster and finish things and all sorts of things. Anyway, whatever. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of things. The ones that I'm going to end off with, so she does do cottons and she does silks, and I have ordered some of each. I just need to sort out what I'm doing here. So these two, so this is the silk, and again, so the black tags are the silk ones. They do say silk on them. This color is called Sangria. And I ended up getting this because my friend got one in one of her previous orders where I was trying to be well behaved, but then she got hers and it was lovely, and then I needed one. And then this color is called Coastal. Now, to me, the interesting thing is, yes, there's some green and blue and gray in this. And again, I've got a couple of things in my 5-year stitching plan where I'm thinking that this works into that. Now, things are always subject to change. Anyway, but I only needed one, so I got one. So again, so this is Coastal in the silk, and this is Sangria in the silk. I have gotten some of the cottons. Again, so her cotton labels are the very multicolored ones. So this is African Violet, which is a lovely, and again, I don't think the camera's doing this justice. It's a lovely purple and green, and, you know, this is a very bluey purple. It looks quite blue on camera, and it's not quite that blue in real life. And the interesting thing about this is, so you can get this colorway in the silks. I looked at it online, again, because you can only see it online. And from the 2 pictures that she had on the website, I liked the look of the cottons better than how it came out in the silks. So I got it in the cotton. My friend got it in the silk. I will say, I do think they're very similar. I think the pictures on the website are more different than they are in real life based on the 2 skeins that we got. So my friend got the silks. I got the cotton. Don't get me wrong, I love this. I don't regret getting it. I think it's lovely. Can't wait to figure out what to use it for. And yeah, I got it because I just went, it's a lovely, lovely colorway. It's very, I mean, okay. I don't know. Look at that. Can you figure out why this appealed to me? Yeah, anywho. It looks like it was meant to go with something that goes in this room. Anyway. Yeah, lovely. And again, these are not like 5 skeins. I can't remember. Anyway, there is a lot of floss in this thing. So it may not be enough to do a really, really large piece, but yeah, anyway, it will work for me. And the other one I got is this Opal, and again, this was, this is not showing up. Oh, that's not bad. There you go. So you can see a little bit of the hint of a little bit of purple and white in there. This is called Opal. This is the cotton. And again, I got this because I was, there's something in the 5-year plan that I went, I think that that's going to work out really well for. So that's why I got that one. And then these two I wanted to show because, again, this is going to show you when you're buying these things, and again, buying them online, there are pictures on the website, subject to change, and it could be different depending on which version of the skein that you get. So those are always risks, and if you are not prepared to take those risks, buying hand-dyed fabrics or flosses online is maybe not the right option for you. Oh, that's not true. I did this wrong. Ugh. There we go. That's what I'm doing. Sorry, we're going to go back. I did this wrong. We're going to go back. This is the silk of Coastal. This is the cotton in Coastal. So these are both called Coastal. They look very different. Now, they looked very different on the website when I bought them. And I bought these anyway. This looks not like me, but I know there's a concept of what I think I'm using this for. This one more so than this one, but anyway, they look, if you go and you look on the website, the pictures are different. And I bought these expecting that they were going to look different. But I think this gives you an indication of the nature of hand-dyed flosses, whether it's silk or cotton. There is going to be a difference in how the color is taken by these, because this is a silk and this is a cotton. So you've got that difference as well. And again, I could see it in the African Violet one. I don't have the silk here because that was my friend's, that was hers. That's one where I go, I don't think they look terribly different. I think they look quite similar, but there is a difference because the dye, these two fibers take the dye differently. But this one, you can certainly see that there is a notable difference between what the silk Coastal and the cotton Coastal look like. And then this one, which even when I said I was getting it, my friend went, that is a really weird choice for you. And this is called Beach Glass. This is a cotton again, as you can tell by the tag. A lot of yellow in this, yellow with green and blue. But I have a pattern that is beach themed, that in my head I'm going to work at some point over here over the next year and a half, because I want to do it for my friend that has the house at the lake that I want to go visit, and I want to keep getting invited back, so I want to make something. And this one, it's right on the lake, beach things, and these are, she's got a lot of yellow in her decorating there. So I've got a beach themed piece to work on for her, and this is what I'm hoping to use as the variegated, this is not clearly not the called for in the pattern, but this is what I want to use for the variegated piece of that particular piece. So yes, it doesn't look like me, and my friend kind of went, sorry, did I get that name right? And I'm like, no, you got it right. And so this is for that piece. So if nothing else, I think I've done a pretty good job that at least I'm buying things where I go, I have specific things for them. Because sometimes I don't have something specifically for the African Violet, but for the most of that pile, I've got things for them. But we're back into Stitch from Stash, so it's back to trying to be well behaved. That's what we're working towards. We'll see how we do. Maybe if I get a few things finished, including the never-ending nativity, that would be great. We really do need to get the never-ending nativity done. I'm hoping to get the Never Ending Nativity because that's going to maybe help me with my shopping. So I've got 2 shopping problems coming. I've got the August Expo, which so far I'm doing okay because right now I only need one, which is the Jeannette Douglas sampler. So that's one designer I know about. I don't know, we'll see. Please let there be mermaids and fish and farm animals and tractors and horoscope signs, and I'm trying to think of all the things that don't necessarily work for me. I don't know. Anyway, please let them all be the things that I don't like, because we all know sometimes there are expos, needlework, Nashville's where I just go like everything is my thing. So I'm hoping for the things that appeal to everybody else except me. Anyway, plus if I get a couple of finishes, so hopefully the Marbec Nativity, that should give me some spending money in there. Hopefully I will get that Mill Hill kit finished in July. Cross your fingers. Hopefully I can get this done. And again, that will give me some spending money. So I've got August Expo, which could be a problem. I've also got, you know, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We know that there are sales. Maybe I will be better by then. Anyway, welcome to my journey of trying to be better behaved about what I'm adding to my stash. Because we are at the point, and it's funny because I was, like I say, I've got a friend who she's glommed onto my saying, and it's really unfortunate where she's using it. And she's being way more successful at it than I am. Do I like this better than I like something I already have in my stash? Again, part of my problem at the end was I'm like, you're going back on the bandwagon. You need to buy those things now because they won't necessarily fit into your budget. Like I say, I have more stash to show. I don't regret purchasing them, but hopefully my mantra will help me through these next 6 months as I try to work at being successful at round 2 of Stitch from Stash. And for the couple of my friends that are watching this and are quietly chuckling to themselves, come on, it's possible I could be well behaved. I was doing really well there for a while. The dying for cross stitch kind of did me in there for a bit, but okay, back on the bandwagon we go. Okay, so back on Stitch from Stash. I will say I have Stashquisitions to show for several more weeks, and there's some orders that are still making their way towards me. And I did some big purchases that I haven't shown you yet, and those will be entire episodes unto themselves. Again, I don't regret them. Well, one of them I know for sure I don't regret because I've used it and I'm enjoying it. The other one I'm working on getting it up. I'm working on getting it up and running, so that might give you a hint as to what that one is. And I have another one that I'm waiting to get a shipping notification that it's coming. And that one was, again, that one is definitely StitchCon. I didn't even attend in person, and StitchCon posed a problem for me. Anyway, when that one arrives, I'll show that one and we'll talk about it. Anyways, with that, let's get on to the topic. Let's talk Jolly July. So yes, so there's many people that are working on Jolly July. Some people are calling it Christmas in July. The Jolly July is actually coming from Fat Quarter Shop, and they have a whole program that they're running around Jolly July, and they've got some stitch-alongs, and they've Kimberly's mapped out her entire month of what she's working on and what that's going to look like, and I think that's great. That's clearly not what I'm necessarily going to be working on, but I love watching that stuff. I'm going to be following the hashtag for sure, trying to make sure I don't buy more things. You know, fortunately, some of the Stitching with the Housewife stuff that people are working on for Jolly July, I own the chart for. They're not in my current plan, so we'll see how that goes. Was catching up with the Sunshine Stitchers. I watched their video from yesterday. They're Sheila is doing a little bit of Jolly July-esque. Both she and Gary are working on the Santa ornaments from Hands On Design. So lots of people are doing it. So whether it's Christmas in July or Jolly July or whatever, that is my plan for this month. So you can see that from the new start that I had with the Mill Hill kit. I do have some other whips that are Christmas related. that I'm hoping to work on this month. So, okay, not surprisingly, the never-ending nativity. Clearly Christmas related. So I am hoping to get a lot of progress on that this month. I don't want to jinx myself and say that I want to get it finished in the month of July, because every time I make one of those pronouncements, I go, as far as I'm concerned, I jinx myself and I screw up the whole plan. So I'm trying to set myself reasonable goals on a weekly basis. So my goal for this week is to finish all of the cross stitching in that Blue Angel, which I think is eminently doable. I'm feeling good about that because I think I can get that knocked off, hopefully get a little more done than that. So my goal is to set a reasonable goal that I'm pretty sure that even if things go off the rails and I have to do 12 other things unexpectedly, that I can accomplish that goal. And if I can get more than that goal, then that's great. I'm also feeling good about it in the context because my new project for this month, which I would like to get this accomplished in the month of July as well, is a much smaller piece. And again, if this is what I've gotten accomplished in the first 3 days of stitching, I'm feeling pretty good about this. So if I could knock off the month with this being finished and the Marbec Nativity being finished, I think that would be an awesome month. I would feel like I was very accomplished. Now, as I've said, I do have some other Christmas related whips, which you have seen. I just had them. I was like, have I shown? Yes, I've shown both of those. So I do have 2 other whips that are waiting in the wings, that if these get finished in good time, which let's not say that out loud because that'll totally jinx everything. And you know, I'm expecting really only towards the back end of this month would those 2 other projects potentially come out. So we'll see. So the focus is clearly going to be the Never-Ending Nativity and my new Mill Hill. But again, if I could finish those in the month of July, that would be a very successful Jolly July for me. Successful for getting it accomplished, which means the Marbec Nativity could go in and it could go into the framer so that it could get stretched and get into its frame so it would be ready to go for Christmas, which would be very exciting. I'd have a finish for my Stitch from Stash budget. So this is my plan. So Christmas in July, all Christmas themed projects for this month. Hopefully getting a couple of things truly finished in the month. Because I haven't had a proper finish. So January was great because I started January and the whole project was finished in January. I think it's because I didn't do a lot of stitching on the Marbec Nativity that month because that was the camel and I was, you know, struggling with that. But so that is my plan. Christmas stitching all month long, new start, Marbec Nativity, and I have 2 Christmas whips waiting in the wings to be worked on. I'm also allowing myself that I have that moment where it's like, I just need to work on something different. And I do have those moments and I've noted it. And again, these are one of the learnings as I'm going through this year. I do have those moments where I put off the stitching because it's more of the same. And so I'm also, part of what I'm doing this month is if I have one of those moments where you just look at it, because I have those moments where I just look and go like, okay, maybe I'll just watch Flosstube and not stitch on this, as opposed to what I should be doing, which is watching Flosstube and stitching. That maybe that's a sign for me that I should work on something else just to give me that break. And so I've got 2 Christmas whips waiting in the wings that I've got ready to go. In fact, one of them is actually even on a Q-snap saying that if I have that moment, I'm allowed to take one evening to stitch on that other whip to sort of get me out of my funk and come back to these other 2. So that's one of the other considerations that I'm, you know, my rotation, which I'm rotating and trying and tweaking and doing all sorts of things to see if I can't come up with a rotation that works for me. That's one of the things that I'm going to be working on this month to see if that little bit of a tweak to how I approach my projects works for me. So that's what I'm going to be using to work my way through Jolly July. Anyway, all theme-based and all that kind of good stuff, so we'll see how that goes. And with that, I'm looking around saying, I know, not a lot about the topic, but we had a really big topic last week, and I'm trying to keep this under movie length this week, which I'm still over an hour. Anyway, with that, that's all I have really to talk about this week. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the Stashquisitions. Like I say, I will link the Dying for Cross Stitch website. If you think you're going to be tempted and you don't want to be tempted, don't click the link. Danger, danger. It's a very dangerous website. Is it wrong that my friend knows every month I go, please let it be brown and yellow and orange and rust and khaki colored, and please let it be those colors, because then it won't appeal to me. If it's blues and purples and fuchsia and that's teal, those are not going to be good months. So anyway, with that, I hope everybody has a really great week. I hope you are all staying safe. If you are in one of those locations that is having the crazy weather, hurricanes, forest fires, wildfires, we've had mudslides, anyway, things are going on. So please be safe. Safety first, safety first. I hope everybody is doing things. I know things are opening up and we're all getting excited, and vaccinations and things. There still are variants. Let's be careful. Safety first, health first, safety and health first, tied for first anyway. And I hope amongst all of that you find some time to do some stitching. Again, as I said, if you've got any comments, questions, topics that you'd like me to address, please feel free to put them in the comments down below, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care, guys.